Hello, everyone, and welcome to day two, session three of the Amplify Her Virtual Summit. Today's session is all about increasing your voice. And if you have been tuning in to any part of this event, you know that the energy has been high. The words of wisdom have been abundant, and it does not stop here. We have some powerhouses backstage for you for session three. Y'all, I cannot wait to jump in. I already know, I've been giving y'all the heads up to get your notepad, get your pen. Don't say I didn't tell you. So you don't have to go back and watch it 20 times, even though I wouldn't mind. I mean, it's going to help with the view. So if you got to watch it 20 times, by all means, go ahead. But I'm super excited to bring to the stage some women that I know will help you increase your voice. And this whole event is all about taking that powerful message that you have and turning it into a movement. So we have handpicked, we actually have 100 speakers for this event, and they have been spread throughout multiple panels. And if that sounds like a lot, we've literally received over 1,000+ applications. So the women that you're going to hear from, I promise you, they are powerhouse, vetted, amazing speakers who really have a heart to help you and empower you. And with that being said, if you have been struggling with your mindset, this is like a double dose bonus, because this first powerhouse is going to help you not only make those shifts, but recognize the things that may be blocking you, what's keeping you. And it really starts with that foundation of our mindset and how we're showing up mentally. So first up, welcome with me on stage, Elise Morgan. She is the mindset whisperer, and I love that. So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. I specialize in mindset. It's the foundation of all of us. How we spend our days, our lives is all what happens up in our thoughts and with our inner beings. And it's very special to me. I had a sister that committed suicide, and that to me is the epitome of where your mindset is. So it's a mission, my life's mission, to help anyone with their mindset live the life of their dreams, especially midlife divorced women is my specialty because they struggle so much with their self-esteem and what's going on around them. And your mindset is your foundation of your happiness. And I help anyone, including the midlife women, elevate your lives to live your life's purpose in the best way possible. We're all here for a purpose.
This is so needed. I love that, Elise. And it's like it just keeps getting better because she's bringing the sprinkles, and we got the cherry on top, which is another way of speaking our mind, and learning how to up level. And our next speaker, she has a heart for women as well. And this is like the mindset crew coming up first. So welcome with me, powerhouse Beth Lewis. How are you doing today, Beth?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself for those that may not have connected with you before?
Yes, absolutely. So, my business is called Mind Center, and I specifically put focus into helping people find their center and find some calm within the chaos in this crazy world that we're living in at the moment. And it was Kate Middleton that actually said, literally, nothing can prepare you for the sheer overwhelming experience of what it means to become a mother. And I know from my own personal journey and history, I really believe in turning your wounds into your wisdom. And I know that after years of mentoring, empowering, supporting women, when I became a mum, I had all the tools in the world to neutralize my emotions and balance my stress and all the things. But it hit me like an absolute freight train. So I've now dedicated my business to nurturing and supporting mums and helping them find their voice and step into their power as women. So it's absolutely amazing, very rewarding.
I love it. I think that's so needed. We've had some cameos from babies, toddlers throughout the conference. I love that you are talking about that because I think it's so important that we learn to own whatever role we have, mother, wife, sister, friend, whatever that is. We have to show up unapologetic. So I love that you've made that your mission, Beth. Our next
Absolutely.
guest, yes, like she is just going to add, we got sprinkles, cherry, icing, all of the goodness happening right now because she will help you look at all of the things that you have been approaching from a lens of faith. And I love that because it really is all about our belief. Like I really feel like this is a double dose of mindset work that we're about to have today. So welcome with me, powerhouse Chandra Gore. How are you doing today, Chandra?
I am blessed and well, Erica. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So can you tell us just a bit about yourself for those that may not have connected with you before?
Absolutely. My name is Chandra Gore. I am a prophetess, and I have been in the motivational speaking arena for over 25 years. It started off in the United States Army. I served my country for 20 years. I am a retired Army veteran, and I love what I do. I love to teach, train, and motivate people. And so the Lord gave me Lens of Faith Speaks as a faith-based movement to help inspire people to discover their purpose, exercise their power, and learn how to walk by faith to live an abundant life. So many people are struggling with who they are. What is my purpose? And I am that purpose pusher to help push you into your destiny.
This is going to be the destiny fulfilled panel. I already feel it. It's like, listen, if there was anything, if you showed up tonight or whenever you're watching this and you've ever wondered, like, how do I even know if I'm dealing with some kind of issue in my faith or issue in my belief, issue in my mindset? Between Elise, Chandra, and Beth, they're going to get you right. And Laquita should be coming up shortly. So I want to actually pose that question because I think a lot of times we can hear mindset, we can hear faith, we can hear belief, but practically not know how to apply it. So what are some signs or symptoms that y'all have discovered that let someone know they might be dealing with an issue in their faith or an issue in their mindset? And let's start with you, Elise, like symptoms of mindset chatter or challenges.
A very deep symptom is being miserable, depressed, sad, because if you have faith in yourself and faith, it's very hard to stay sad and depressed all the time. So that's a key symptom. That why aren't you walking around not happy? Some people don't even know why they're not happy, and it comes from within, which is faith. It comes from knowing who you are and what you want. And so many people walk around unhappy but don't know why. So that's the first thing. They're just melancholy. That could be one thing. Like maybe you are. I talk about this a lot in my programming, like conditioning. You might have done things because you were conditioned to do so, but now you're walking around unhappy and you don't know why. So that could be a very big question to ask yourself. Why aren't I happy? Which would propel you to maybe take action.
That's good. I think like that's as blatant of a symptom as we will get, just why am I unhappy and can't pinpoint exactly what's causing it. Let's pass the mic to you, Beth. What would you say? What are some signs or symptoms that someone is not minding their center?
Yeah, I love that. And flowing on from what Elise said, that big word conditioning, that is a huge one for me. And it's something that really hits you and comes up through pregnancy and parenthood. I've really found every single one of my clients, all of a sudden, you'll be saying things or doing things and you feel stuck in a pattern that doesn't serve you, but you don't know why. And that's one of the biggest key indicators that something has to shift, something has to change. So many people I work with, when they first come in for their first session or their first phone call, it's always, I'm just stuck, or I'm angry, or I'm this, or I'm that, or I don't want to feel this way, but they don't know how to get themselves out of that. So unpacking that and recognizing, perhaps why you're self-sabotaging and reaching for the wine and ordering the pizzas when you know that you actually committed to the exercise routine and the healthy food, but you can't stop that habit. It's unpacking the why behind that. It's amazing. And yes, so much of it is just to do with conditioning. And it's really powerful when you shift that.
That's good, Beth. I feel like you just karate chopped me in the stomach because my eating. I just had my baby, and that pregnancy, those cravings, I was like, I haven't eaten like this since middle school, and it's been insane. So now I'm on the other side of it, trying to reel it in. I'm going to
everything in moderation, including moderation. That's one of my favorites.
I love that. I love it. Chandra, what would you say? What are some of those symptoms that we're lacking or maybe approaching struggle in our faith, in our mindset?
Wow. So for me, it's a little bit different. I'm an analytical person. So for me, it is the language of humans. I analyze what you say, because out of your mouth, your heart speaks. And so whatever is embedded into your soul, in your mind, and in your body, most particularly your heart, your mouth begins to speak. So I simply have conversations with people. And as you begin to talk to me, you are revealing to me what's in your heart, what's in your heart about you, what's in your heart about where you are, where you're going, or if you're going anywhere at all. I can learn a lot about a person by listening for the first 10 minutes of the conversation. Just sitting listening, letting them pour out and get it all out. And I guarantee you, they're going to give me a perspective of where their mindset is, because what's in us comes out. It's a proven fact. It's scientific, and it's of God, right? Whatever's in you, it's going to come out, whether it's through your mouth or another source. But particularly when people speak, they're either going to be negative or positive, one or the other. You're either going to be negative or positive. And so if you just sit and listen to someone, the negative side will come out. I can't do this. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do this. I just don't know what to do. Or if they're saying, I'm a destiny chaser, I'm motivated, I get up every morning and I affirm my day, that lets me know what side of the spectrum they're on, whether it's negative or positive. And then I know how to handle that particular customer or client.
That's a whole word, a whole message right there. And I love that what each of you have shared is something so practical. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you showing up and you just find yourself like, and sometimes we don't know it though. We can be like the most negative person in the room and think that we're validated. So it's like, I'm not negative, But I want to talk about that too, because I know that oftentimes the areas that we teach on, that we support others in, is something that we ourselves have had to overcome. And it's something that we maybe even once struggled with. And now that as we've come along, I find that most people's customers or clients are just a few steps behind them. So with that being said, was there ever like a challenge that you faced personally, or maybe even with someone that you were helping, that showed that they were struggling in their mindset, and how were you able to overcome and get to the better side of it? Let's start with you, Beth.
Yeah, perfect topic for me, actually, because, I do really live by that phrase, turn your wounds into your wisdom and make it your superpower. Through my 20s, I really, really struggled with chronic pain and illness, and I was really stuck in that victim mentality. It just dropped me to my knees. I was struggling with everything from eventually being diagnosed with endometriosis and, anxiety, depression, chronic insomnia, severe digestive issues. And the bullet point version, because we could go all day on this, was literally I ended up spending about $11,000 in 1 year just trying to find out what was wrong with me. And long story short, I ended up finding some phenomenal, more holistic doctors and practices to help with what was broken within my body. But I started doing a lot of personal development, and I really love what we've all been tapping into here, and that is the mindset and what I was putting power into. So I was putting so much power into the negative. And what I've realized from that experience is what you focus on, that grows. So I started this huge health journey and putting love and energy, affirmations. The late Louise Hay honestly saved me. So beautiful. I started realizing that everything I was saying was an affirmation. So I started shifting my language. So I love that we've touched on that already. It was, okay, so I don't want that. I don't want to feel like this. What do I want? How do I want to feel? I am the creator of my life. So I shifted my mindset from what do I want? Well, it was basically, I hate this. I can't live like this. What do I want and how can I have it? So I started noticing that when I shifted my mindset, my emotions and my language, my physical body followed. And that was just absolutely huge. And it was the same way around as well. When I shifted my physical and started pouring love and energy into nurturing my body, it was a huge shift with my mindset and emotions, because I realized that over 95% of our serotonin levels are manufactured in our gut. So that's why I really help people with the food and nutrition side as well. So yeah, super, super powerful breakthrough for me.
That's so good, because what I find too is that when you start cleaning up one area, it's the trickle down effect. Everything else comes together. And I know, Chandra, you talk about faith. And I know that was a game changer for me. When I started building up that foundation of my faith, then I realized that went into, and you all, I know y'all can attest to this, your relationships get better. How your relationship with self gets better, how your thinking gets better. The byproduct is your business gets better. Other people feel better around you. Like, it goes into so many areas. So a lot of times when we come in business, I know a lot of you watching, or maybe you signed up, you're like, yeah, I'm ready for this movement. I need 20,000 followers, or I'm ready to hit my 7-figure, whatever it may be, whatever that goal is. But it all starts within. It starts at the base, the foundation of mindset, because you can get all of those things and still be miserable, or squander it, or sabotage it because you haven't done that work on the inside. So I'm gonna pass it down to you, Chandra. I would love to hear your thoughts around, has there been a time where you had to overcome maybe the very thing you're teaching others, and what was the lesson that you learned?
Absolutely. Suicidal ideations plagued me for a number of years in my life. I struggled with loss, the loss of my children, the loss of my father, the loss of my grandmother. Death and loss for me was huge. And it was like a thorn in my side. It was like one of those painstaking moments that I had to grow to learn how to navigate rather than fall down and quit and give up. I've always been bold in whatever I did. I was never afraid to step out and do something that I've never done before. But I had a fear of loss. When someone left me, I felt trauma. I felt abandoned. I felt horrible. And so, in learning how to navigate suicidal ideations, because I had 2 suicide attempts myself, I had to learn how to never go back that low again. And the one thing that helped me never go back that low again was God. And secondly, grief counseling. Grief counseling helped me transform my negative thoughts into power. Power, literally. How can I transform my negative thoughts into power? Well, I had to understand why there were negative thoughts. It's because I told myself that they were negative thoughts, and then I adopted a mentality that allowed me to travel this pathway of being sad, hurt, and not understanding that I was still alive, and that I could overcome that particular circumstances, and that, guess what? We all have to die one day. I had to realize that literally and understand that thought, like, oh wow. So they're not just leaving me. I mean, we all have an expiration date, but we don't know what that date is. So I literally had to understand that concept of life and death, and that death does inevitably come to us. But I didn't understand it. I just thought everybody was abandoning me, because people were dying in my life like left and right. And especially when I lost my babies. I lost 2 sets of twins 4 years apart. So I couldn't understand that in my mind. I was like, wait a minute, God, and I'm believing you by faith for these babies, and you took my children. So it was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? So I really had to sit down and really understand what was happening in my life, and that all things work together for my good, and that I was still alive. So I had an opportunity to still make choices and decisions in my life. And so that was one thing that I had to understand before I could teach it, before I could literally help someone else out of the pit of suicidal ideations. And I absolutely love where I am today. And I love the fact that I've helped several people actually save lives in the military, save lives on the phone, save lives in person, of people trying to take their own life. And
Wow.
it's something really powerful to understand when you know that your heart is still beating, you still have breath in your body, and you can still be a change agent. All about what you decide to believe in your mind, believe in your heart, and ultimately do action. Have an action based on what you believe. And so I'm just excited about how God is using me in that area of awareness and prevention.
Wow. It's as if like the three of you met without me to come together with this presentation. It's just flowing so amazingly, and I knew it would. And I just knew it would. And so Elise, I would love to get your thoughts. Has there been an area that you struggled with, and how did you overcome and or help other people in that area?
First, Shonda, I'm sorry for your loss of your children. I can't even imagine. And it made you who you are today. So, but I had to say that I'm sorry to hear that. And it's part, I didn't have that kind of loss. But what I like to say is my mess is my message. So my mess is now my message. And in a nutshell, I had very, without knowing it, had very low self-esteem, low self-worth. I always had a very vivacious, fun personality. I was a fitness model. I was a personal trainer. I actually was a figure competitive professional, but inside I had no self-worth. The lack of feeling good about myself made me put up with disrespect, not having nurturing good men around me. I was not treated very well. I don't like to speak about this too much personally, deep, but physical, mental, abuse. And when you finally just break out of that, saying to yourself, here's one thing I want to say to everyone out there. If you're in this situation, we tend to focus on why is he doing that? Why is that? I can't believe he. And when you finally say, wait a minute, why am I allowing this? Am I allowing this? And you take your power back. That's when you grow. You may not know how to do that when you first do that, but that's when you take your power back. And I had a sister that committed suicide, and it's that's what propelled me also to be on this mission to help people with their mindset, because your mind, it's there. If you are here and your heart is beating, you are meant to be here. We all have special gifts and talents. We've all have things that we've gone through, and we're all worthy and deserving to be here. And that's why I'm here to help people. So yeah, I've been through all the muck of what I help people get through. And who's better than all of us to help the people that we're helping, because we walked the shoes and we are a beacon for these women. We are like the lighthouse in their storm. So that's why I'm here.
Wow. Thank you, Elise. I have to say thank you to all three of you for one, being so open, so vulnerable. I know that's not always easy. And I think it's a blessing when you go through those things and have the nerve to show up and reach back to help someone else like that. That to me is so huge. And we're hearing like so many different stories of things and challenges that we've had to overcome. So I just want to say that. And one word that I've heard each of you say is why. And I'm going to plug this message that will be streaming tomorrow. It's by Noah St. John, but he's talked about this concept of affirmations. I don't know if y'all are familiar with it, but basically that we all ask why statements, like without even thinking about it, whether good or bad or indifferent, like, why am I always late? Or why am I so blessed? Or why does blah, blah, blah happen to me? And what happens from a scientific standpoint is that whatever we say why to, our brain looks for evidence of that thing. So I think you said that, Chandra, like with the negative thoughts, it's like, well, who said they were negative? And I've seen this in action, but I think, again, what I'm hearing from all of y'all is so practical. When we're in these moments, it's not that you have to stay there. And I won't like run back to like past sessions. I want to. I'm like, Shelby talked about this, but we don't have to stay there. And that's what I want to talk about too, because I'm gravely so sorry for the tragedies and the traumas that each of you have faced, and the things that you've had to overcome. And my question is for someone that's in the middle of that, and I'm sure we all can relate to being in the middle of it. You're in the middle of the grief, you're in the middle of the loss, you're in the middle of the challenge, and it can feel like, what's the point? Like, what's the point? Why even get back up? Why even try? So what are some of your thoughts around that? If someone's experiencing, maybe they're in the middle of the grief right now and they're saying, what's the point? How can I even get up? Let's start with, actually, I'll say whoever wants to jump in first, because I keep picking on Beth, but who would like to take it? Okay, we'll start with Elise and then we'll go around.
I think it's Les Brown's expression, if you can look up, you can get up. And I think if you're in the middle of it, they don't have it in them to say it, but if you could say it's possible, isn't it possible that you can get out of this? Because if it's possible to you. So I think a lot of people that are in something that's horrible, it's not forever. It's for the right now. It's happening right now. But is it possible that it's going to be over? And of course, the answer is yes. So it's just asking yourself, is it possible that I will get out of this? Will I feel better? And is it possible that I can? Because there are millions of people that are. You know, for instance, if you're in a domestic violence situation and you're ready to leave, will it ever be better? Of course it will. But if you say to yourself, it will never get better, I'll never get out, this is never going to change, I don't deserve whatever, then that's what your truth is, what you tell yourself. Your truth is what you tell yourself in your mind. Just like you said, if you keep asking yourself why, whatever you say to yourself is your truth. So if you can change that paradigm of thinking, like Chandra was talking about, just because you kept saying it to yourself all the time doesn't make it your truth if it's something negative and not giving you power. So just my suggestion would be, can you say, is it possible that I can be better than this? Is it possible that I can get out of this? And then there's your answer. That's something you can ask yourself.
I love that. That's so good, Elise. So good. Y'all are just flowing. I'm just in love with the vibe on this panel. It's just so calming and encouraging. Let's go to you, Beth. What would you say? What are some of those things that you have said to help us get back up when we're in the middle of the tragedy?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, it's blowing my mind as well, actually. I just have to say what phenomenal women you are. This is just such an honor to be a part of this. So a little story. I actually just fled a relationship at the end of last year with a horrible, toxic, abusive situation that I was in. And there was a lot of shame and judgment for myself because, and I think so many of us can do this and relate to this, right? I mentor people through being strong. And I attracted this man who made me doubt every single part of myself, the gaslighting, the horrible comments, and all the rest of it. And because I had a baby, and when he was a few weeks old, COVID hit, and I was stuck in this house with this man that I actually barely knew. I was only 5 months into a relationship. When I fell pregnant, my beautiful manifested miracle, I call my son, you know, I didn't even know I could get pregnant. It was a bit of a, oh, okay, that happened, but he was meant to be with me and it's all perfect. But I genuinely see every single situation as an opportunity for growth. So I literally went through this traumatic experience. And in the back of my mind, I was just breathing and tapping into something my grandmother used to say. And she always used to say, sweetheart, there's 2 blessings in life and we all get these. If you get these, you can do anything. 1, you wake up, and 2, you get out of bed. And if you can do that, that is something to be grateful for. Everything else above that is icing. So even through going through a complete mental breakdown, you know, being a mentor and getting rid of all the judgment around that, tapping into your tribe is honestly the best advice I can give anyone. It's actually just, you know what, it's okay not to be okay. There is such a stigma. I think sometimes that's why I even avoid when I'm working with clients, specifically clients going through really bad situations where they feel incredibly traumatized or stuck. I change the language from positive and negative to disempowering and empowering. So I'll sit down with somebody and say, okay, so let's go through some disempowering thoughts or language that you might be having or using right now. And it might be, you know, one of my favorite sayings is, don't be a can't. And everyone loves that. They think that's hilarious. It's like, okay, I can't do this. I can't, or I don't want this. It's like, okay, let's just change that language and that thought. And whose belief is that anyway? Whose belief is that anyway? Is that really your belief? You know, is that, whose voice is that? And so many women say, oh my God, that's my mum, or that's this person, or that's that person. It's, you know, in the words of Louise Hay, honestly, yeah, it's okay not to be okay. And in the words of Louise Hay, I love it. It's, if you can change the thought, which you absolutely can, any thoughts can be changed, the emotion and the power that goes into that thought can be changed. So my positive can be somebody else's equal and opposite negative. It's only the meaning I've given to that thought that gives it power. So what if I can sit down and focus on what I really, really want and start working on that? And that's where I start. Oh, it's phenomenal what follows. So I just want to send a huge message to anyone that is struggling. It's okay to feel broken, and you don't have to just pull yourself out of that either. Just be okay with being broken in that moment. It doesn't mean it's pleasant, and it doesn't mean that you're enjoying it, but you will get through it if you put your hand on your heart and honor your truth, and then put your hand up and say, you know what, I'm not okay. Somebody please help me, because there is always a way. There's no shame in asking for help and asking for support. So that's the biggest message, I think, just let go of the judgment for self, and people show up to help you when you do that.
That's good, Beth. The advice from your grandmother too, the getting up, celebrating, I think like the smallest of things, because I remember I was in a season where I had gone through a loss, and I was to the point that I didn't even think I could get up, but I had to, because my kids had to get to school. So it was like, I kind of had to keep functioning, but I didn't want to. I wanted to just lay down. And I will never forget talking to my best friend in that season. And she just said, it's like a muscle. And she's a trainer. And like you, Elise, she's done like figure competitions. She's just like everything. She can make an analogy out of like personal health and fitness. I'm like, okay. But she just said, it's like the same with building a muscle. It doesn't happen overnight. Like just do a little bit, and you're going to have a little bit of resistance. And that's okay, because that's building the muscle. And I remember her walking me through it just day by day. Like, hey, don't do much. Just, if you can just let your clients know you can't talk to them right now. Like, that's it. You don't have to lose your business. You could lose it. It's okay. But just shoot out one email. Just let them know you can't talk right now. And then if you can talk to one person, do that. And I just remember when I got to a place where I was back, like getting up and actually appreciating it. It was mind blowing, because it was just those little things, how you said as well, Beth, just like being okay with, we're not always going to be chipper. We're not always going to have all the answers. We're not always going to be the person that's helping others and always pouring out. There will be times where we need to get poured into as well, and be okay with others pouring into you. So Chandra, I'm so interested, because I feel like I've heard your testimony. So it's hard for me not to like jump ahead and ask like all of these like insider questions, because you've just inspired me so much through the years. But I would love to know, gosh, I have like 4 questions for you that I'm trying to make like one question, but in the midst of, I've seen you go through like so many things, and I've seen you in the middle of something, and I've seen you show up like while you're under attack. Like literally something happened this morning, and I've seen you show up and pour into someone that afternoon. I would love to either know, A, like, what are your thoughts on how you continue to show up? And then part 2, I've noticed that you also have seasons where you've moved in silence. And then as you have elevated, I feel like that's played a role too with the success that I've seen you have, like your ability to not always broadcast everything, and your ability to show up even when it's been tough. So whichever way you take that question, I would love for you to just jump in and share what comes to mind.
Wow. So such a powerful, loaded question. So I'm going to start what's really on my heart first.
Okay.
That second part that you mentioned, while you're under attack, you still show up. I absolutely do that. And I move in silence now. The reason why certain things I move in silence, is because the power of the tongue is very, very powerful. The moment that we speak it into the atmosphere, it becomes it becomes a thing. It manifests. It has power. We have control and power to create, because God created us in his image and his likeness. So without being super spiritual and super deep right now, I want to tell you that your tongue has creative power. So the moment that you begin to speak the thing, it will manifest. And not only will it manifest, but those people that are trying to stop you, come against you, hinder you, prevent you from doing that thing, they have been alerted. The alert has been out. It's like a clarion call that goes out that says, Chandra is going to be a teacher, right? And now the people that don't want me to be a teacher, they're on their duty. They're on their guard. They're like, we're going to stop her at all costs. They're on their duty. But guess what? I have to be on mine. And so at that point, I have to know how to navigate without alerting the people that don't need to know until they know, because it happened. It manifests, right? And so I've learned to move in silence many times, because of my spiritual background. I know about the enemy, and I know about heaven, and I know about God. And so with understanding the power of the tongue, I move in silence until it's time to release it. The Lord will let me know when it's time to release it, when it's time to share it, when it's time to congratulate, when it's time to clap and, share. The Lord will release me at that point to share it. Now, there's been some seasons in my life where I've been going through some things, and I just feel like I don't want to go through that. I don't want to finish. I don't want to get up. I don't want to continue, but I continue. And I'm going to tell you, the number one reason why I continue is because I'm still alive. That's key. As long as you have breath in your body, you're not dead. So your journey is not finished. You have to keep going. Your journey is not over. And so I often tell my clients that want to give up, I said, put your hand in front of your mouth and blow. Did you feel that? You're alive. As a matter of fact, stand up on your feet, pinch yourself. Did you feel that? You're alive. So you cannot stop. You cannot quit, because your clock has not ended. Time is still ticking. So that gives you the opportunity to continue to be a change agent in this world with your story, because you're going to overcome whatever you just walked through. I just literally, Erica, walked through a season where I thought I was having a stroke. The enemy thought he was going to try to make me have a stroke. The blood vessels busted in my eyes. I still have a little bit of red in my eyes right now. My eyes were completely red. Blood vessels busted in my eyes. I said, okay, God, what are you telling me? What is this? This is clearly an attack because of the level of elevation, because I just went through an elevation process in where I'm going, in the journey that I'm on. And so I had to realize in that moment, you're not going to have a stroke. Get yourself together. Drink water, exercise, relax, take deep breaths, and lay down somewhere, because I'm always on the go. So I tell people, acknowledge where you are. Unpack that. Where are you currently in the midst of the trial or the tribulation? Speak it out of your mouth. Say it to yourself. I'm currently feeling this way. I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling anxious, or say it, because it acknowledges where you currently are. Now tell me, what is your goal? Where are you going? Now you give yourself a pathway to get to. Although you're here, you're sitting in the midst of this trial, and you just lost this person, or whatever the situation is, but you have a goal, you have a path, and you have to identify where you are and where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to sit and stay right where you are. Wow. So this is important. And I teach this in my Lens of Faith Speaks Coaching and Consulting. I teach this. Say where you are, but you also have to say where you're going, because it tells your brain that this is not your final destination. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through in the moment, whatever the hurt, pain, bitterness, anger is, get it out. This is why I tell people, you can't sit there and lock up. You got to purge it. You have to unpack it. It releases the heart from a posture of being like this, like a closed fist. As you unpack, your hand begins to unfold and you release. It's important that people release, because those people that don't release turn to suicide. They turn to even homicidal tendencies when they don't release the pain in their body, the pain in their heart, the pain in their mind, the pain in their soul. We give ourselves disease sometimes. It's called dis-ease because we lock up and we freeze, we paralyze, and we carry the weight of the burden. So it's important for us to acknowledge and release. My God.
That's good. Listen, I'm like, y'all could literally just like, I'm sewing this together into a book that it just feels like y'all are co-writing. Elise, you talked about that too. And I used to call it the breath test. And then Chandra, you just did it. Like I would tell everyone if I'm speaking to an audience, if you're able to do that, you pass the test, like you're alive, you're here. God's not done with you. And so there's something too that's underlying. We're gonna get ready to wrap. It's hard though, because y'all are just dropping some good nuggets. But there's an underlying theme that I found too, that you, Elise, you, Beth, you, Chandra, that you've talked about. Not only have we talked about it being okay to not be okay, but releasing ourselves from the pressure, releasing ourselves from what society may say, it means to be a woman or to be an entrepreneur. You got to be on the go, or this is what if you're a mom, you got to be stressed. And I just, all that, I'm like, oh, I rebuke that. Like I have fun, I rest, I'm unapologetically not busy. When people call me busy, I feel like they're cursing at me. I'm like, nope, I'm not busy. I lived a busy season. That is not my life right now. I'm relaxed and rested. But I would love for y'all to kind of talk about too the power of unapologetic rest and being able to balance and refresh when it comes to your mindset as well, that we don't have to feel that pressure, of hustle. And I just, when you did that tight fist, I'm like, I feel like that's someone's schedule right now, just gotta get up, gotta do all of this. Let's start with you, Elise.
It's funny you're saying that, because in my teachings and what I like to teach people is that that's just what we're conditioned, that you got to hustle and you got to work hard, and not, if you're not doing that, then you're not going to be successful. And I like to feel the opposite. It's more of a being aligned with what you want and believing it and taking inspired action. And inspired action does not feel heavy, and it does not feel I have to do this at what society teaches us. And sometimes inspired action isn't a tight schedule or working 20 hours a day to achieve your goal. Sometimes an inspired action, maybe it's 1 hour a day, but it's going to bring the biggest elevation of your business life, whatever, because it's inspired. I can't speak about being on a clock and being really, really, really busy, because I have not had that in my life for many, many years. And I went through that season of thinking, wow, I'm not really productive. But, that's what comes with that type of thinking. You don't have to be on that hamster wheel and doing things 24/7 to be productive. So, and if you have to work, let's say the 40 hours a week, or you have to put the food on the table and that's what you're doing, most importantly is to, if you even have to put it on your little iPhone calendar, schedule your time for you. And that's what a lot of women do not do, especially moms. Women don't know to take time for themselves. We're naturally caretakers. We naturally put other people before us. And then what happens? One of my favorite things I like to say out loud to my clients, to anybody, is they say it on the airplane. If the airplane's going down, you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you put it on someone else's. And we as women forget to take care of our needs, first. And we are taught that it's selfish to take care of yourself. And what I've found in my experience, it's usually the most selfish person telling you that you're selfish for taking time for yourself. Because selfish people don't want you to take time for yourself. They're the ones that are selfish. And once you take your power back, you realize that. So self-care is very important, no matter how busy you are. And I just want to say, I know this is not part of the summit, but I wish I was saying all this with that great Australian accent that has. Because I have this New York accent going on, and everybody's probably like, "What the hell is she saying?" But I feel like everyone sounds so eloquent, and I'm here with my New York stuff going on. But that I just, I had to say that. But self-care is very important.
It is a part of the summit, because we've had women from literally all over. I already told y'all I'm adopting this like Canadian accent every now and then. Shout out to Ruth. I think she's like we've had women from Australia with Beth, beautiful accent. I'm country, so I've had to get people to reiterate their name so I don't, countrify it. So I love it. I love that you said that, because Beth is so beautiful. She's like, and I'm going to keep you calm, and just it's like, I feel like we're down under right now. And so Beth, can you tell us just what stood out to you, and even the importance, of rest and refreshing and being unapologetic about it?
Absolutely. I love that, Elise. That cracked me up because it's so funny. I just have to comment on that. I listen to everyone else's accent and I'm like, oh, it's so cool. I love it. And New York's one of my favorite cities in the world. Just awesome. So for me specifically, once again, it actually comes back to conditioning. There's so much of it is conditioning. My mother, she's actually a yoga teacher, and interestingly, though, one of the most stressed out people when it comes to go, 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 because she puts so much pressure on herself with the hustle and I've got to get stuff done. And she's so OCD, the house has to be perfect. And she knows this. She knows she's her own worst enemy, but that conditioning is so there and it's never changed. We always used to make jokes when we were kids about having friends over and somebody would go to sit on your bed and you'd be like, no, don't touch the bed. It's perfect. She's going to lose it. But, it's about just, giving yourself a break and realizing what's important in life. And, definitely for me, through health issues and all of that, I have had times where I've literally been forced to do nothing. And that has actually really given me a bit of insight into, okay, when I'm letting go and not in my head, that's where mindfulness and meditation practice and everything is so powerful. And the breath that we've all been talking about, when you actually stop and take a breath, oh my goodness, your whole body feels different, right? I love that, Chandra, you tapped into that we actually create illness for ourselves. I'm on a huge healing journey at the moment around ridding my body of endometriosis, because I genuinely believe that I can heal myself with all these different modalities, and breath work is one of those big ones. So many of my clients relate to this when I say, how many of you, especially the ones that work in corporate, I was in corporate for 21 years and I know that I'd have those days where it'd be rush, 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 rush. And then you'd get to 3 p.m. in the afternoon and go, and you realize you probably haven't taken a breath all day because you're just stressed and you're responding to emails. And one thing that I'm really mentoring and coaching so many mums through, so many people are coming to me now saying, I really want to talk to somebody because I don't want to do this anymore. I can't manage the husband, the family, the children, the career. How do I find balance? And it's actually one of the biggest reasons most people start working with me. So it's such a perfect topic. And one of the biggest things that I focus on is, what do you want? And what is that vision or that goal for yourself? What does that 10 out of 10 balance look like for you? Because once again, that's different for everybody, right? So what works for one person might not work for other people. So we sit down and go over, okay, if you were to get from, 2 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 in that feeling of balance and neutralized mental and emotional health within the next 6 to 12 months, what would that look like? And then reminding them that when we set that goal and when we have that beautiful vision for ourselves, we are going to manifest experiences that will help us grow and get to that point. And reminding them that all of those experiences might not be positive. So I think really just reminding people that we actually manifest experiences to become this beautiful, strong, resilient goddess in our divine feminine, whatever we're aiming for, that it's actually okay that we're going to go through some challenges as well, and just sort of neutralizing the power that we're putting into that too. It's okay to actually just accept what's in front of us, and it's how you flow through that matters. So these are going to happen. What stress management strategies and self-care strategies are we going to put in place so we can get to that feeling of feeling balanced? So we do everything from, I give my clients a self-care checklist, and they can be simple strategies around, okay, I'm going to look at this checklist every day, and when I'm feeling really stressed or overexhausted or overwhelmed, have I drunk enough water today? Simple things like habits? You know, how has my sleep been going? Am I feeling super anxious? You know, I see a medical herbalist, for example, and take this beautiful adrenal blend that honestly, when I'm not taking it, I feel a huge difference with my anxiety and stress levels. So just really tapping into, what am I putting into my body? What am I listening to? You know, in a world that's obsessed with filters, so many of us are still, you know, I don't watch the news or anything like that. I'll put a podcast in my ears with empowering women talking about this kind of stuff any day over putting the news on. So yeah,
Right.
what am I listening to? Who am I hanging out with? Are the people I'm hanging out with inspiring me? Do I feel like my soul is full when I've spent time with them, or do I feel really drained? So just, yeah, looking at, okay, where do I want to be? And are all these steps in place to help me get there and help me feel balanced? And that's a really, really big one. And then lastly, really understanding what your legacy is that you want to leave for your children if you are a mother, or the people that you love. Do you want to show your children, especially women raising women, or a son that might be supporting that partner one day when she becomes a mother? I know me, for my son, I want to show him that it's normal for mummy to take time and self-care and stop and rest, because that legacy that we're leaving behind for our children shows them that self-care is normal and really important. So that's a really
Yes.
big one for me.
That's so good. So many good nuggets there, Beth. And what stands out to me as well is just the unapologetic self-care, scheduling it. And I think, Elise, you said that, like, put it on your calendar. Now when I do these events, and if Stacey, if you're watching, Stacey has been like my right-hand person for years. She's helped to launch Amplify Her with me. And she knows, like, it used to get so hectic around event time. I have had so many naps in these last few days. Every time I'm getting ready for an event, I'm like, I'm so rested. I'm like, definitely shout out to my husband who's helped tremendously, like, with keeping the household going. But it's the conditioning, like you said, Beth, that sometimes we're so conditioned to feel like, I know my conditioning was, in order for it to be productive, you had to, like, it had to take some work. You needed to cry 5 times, or it wasn't really going to be productive, or it's not really, a good thing. And now I'm like, bring on the naps, bring on the falafels and my favorite thing, so I can just be in the moment. So Chandra, we're going to wrap kind of with you, but then we're going to go back around and just let everyone know how they can get plugged in, because I cannot believe the time has gone by this quickly. But it has pretty quickly. So Chandra, what would you say? And I'm going to kind of pull from what Beth was talking about. What's that legacy that you hope the world gets from your messaging when they go back 100 years from now and they're hearing from you? What's that legacy that you hope to leave, and how can we get connected and support what you're doing?
Oh, bust a faith move. That is my legacy, literally, to bust a faith move. I want people to stop being paralyzed, stop procrastinating, stop really just giving up on life. Like, there's so much more to life, but so many people are tied to their eyesight that it hinders them from even moving, because they see that their bank account only has 26 cents in it. They're like, I can't start my business. I can't write my book. Forget all of that. All you need is a piece of paper and a pen. Do you have that? You can go to just about anywhere and get a piece of paper and a pen and start writing that book, right? Writing the plan for that business. I say, do what you can do and let God do the rest. Do what you can do and let God do the rest. My legacy is huge in this world today. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a lens of faith. Anytime people see me, oh, that's that girl that talks about faith all the time. She is a lens of faith, because I don't want people to be limited by what they see naturally. I want you to go beyond what you can see and to reach for the stars, reach for your destiny, walk in your purpose. And I guarantee you're going to unlock the door to millions and trillions of dollars. If people would just walk in their purpose, if they would just do that. And that takes busting a faith move. Some people are tied to a 9-to-5 because they know they're going to get a paycheck at the end of the week. I'm going to get that paycheck, but they're not moving in purpose. In fact, they hate their job. Well, why are you still there? Because you're tied to the money. It's about the money and not the purpose. So Bust a Faith Move is an anthology that I just wrote, as a matter of fact, with 8 other amazing women. And I want you to know that it's a movement. It's all about the action in your steps. It's about the action that we take in our steps, our daily walk of life to reach purpose and to get to destiny. So walk in your purpose and get to destiny. That's important to me. It's important to my children. It's important to the community that God has placed in my care. And that's the people of God. So Bust a Faith Move is my legacy. Yes.
And how can we get connected with all that you have going on right now?
Oh, all that I have going on is on www.lensoffaith.org, lensoffaith.org. And I'm on just about every social media platform as Lens of Faith. Thank you.
I love that. So we're going to pass the mic to you, Elise. Same question. What is that legacy that you hope to leave, and how can we get connected with all that you have going on?
The legacy I want to leave that we are all put on this earth with, just as Chandra said, life's purpose. We are all worthy and deserving of being here on this wonderful earth. And my legacy I want to leave for my children and their children's children is that they also can be, do, and have whatever they dream of if they put their mind to it, because it's all about your mindset and how you feel. And how you can find me also is I will give my Instagram is Coach_Elise Morgan. My Facebook, I have a private Facebook group called Create Your Own Happily Ever After for Midlife Women. If you are just wanting to elevate your life and you're not a midlife divorced woman, you can email me at Elise Morgan at CoachEliseMorgan.com. And I also have a book that is a bestseller on Amazon called Go From Miserable to Magical. And that's also a guide for midlife women to create their own happily ever after.
I love it. And someone said, where can we find Bust a Faith Move? Look, I feel like it's a dance a little bit too. I'm like, Chandra, you got to let us know about that.
Yes, Bust a Faith Move is on my website. It's also on Amazon. And it's literally Bust a Faith Move. It's pink, white, and black. It's the only book that's called Bust a Faith Move on Amazon, literally.
That's amazing.
But it's also on my website, www.lensoffaith.org.
I love that. So Beth, same question. And you brought this question up, so it's exciting that you get to answer it. What's that legacy that you hope to leave, and how can we support you?
Oh, well, definitely for me, it is really just accepting and loving yourself where you are at. I'm a huge believer that we are all a work in progress. And when you reject where you are and you focus too much on, but I'm not there yet, and you're putting all the power into the future, you're really sort of not accepting and tapping into how amazing it can be, and what you attract and manifest can be so much more powerful when you actually can look in the mirror and say, I'm going to accept myself and love myself, even if I'm in absolute mess at the moment. So yeah, really, really that, and recognizing that no matter what situation you're in, like I love the mindset messages from both of these beautiful ladies around, like it doesn't matter if you've got 26 cents in your bank account. You know, I'm a single mum that really went through a lot of financial abuse and everything, and I refuse to go back to the corporate world and work for other people, because I damn well know that I can make this work. And every step you take towards your true north manifests more of that power, and inspiring people, motivating people, supporting and nurturing people to grow and just absolutely love themselves. For me, the deeper why and the legacy is that flows into our next generations, and it helps them grow as children into adults who are kind and loving and accept themselves and others in a more powerful way. So that's the legacy piece for me. I am currently writing a book, which will definitely be on my website at some point. Very excited about that. So bethlewis.com.au. I have a podcast that I've recently started called Unconditioned, funnily enough, which is all about encouraging women to just be unapologetically them and really step into their power of who they are. And on Instagram and Facebook at Beth Lewis Coaching is the handle for Instagram, and it's just Beth Lewis Coaching on Facebook.
I love that. And I love the delays. I keep getting, it's like that awkward moment for a second. Y'all, listen, I want to say thank you so much, Elise, Chandra, Beth. This has been incredible. You three are like just some gems. Like the world, I hope y'all understand, those of you watching, what you just got access to. And I hope you go back and you watch this 100 times over. And if you know someone, I really want to encourage you of this. If you know someone that's been feeling sad, that's fitting some of these symptoms that we talked about, make sure that you share this video with them. It's not just to show up. I don't do this because everyone's going to look beautiful like they do or have these great backgrounds and good stories. It's because we're literally on a mission to change lives. And I know it's going to change someone's life. So make sure that you share it. That is it for panel 3. Y'all clap it up for yourselves because y'all have just literally, you have encouraged me so much. If you're watching this and you want the replays, if you want to do the faith busted move dance, we're like busting our faith.
Bust the faith.
Go to amplifyhermovement.com so that you can make sure you're registered to get all the behind the scenes. We have a magazine coming out. We have more speakers on the way tomorrow. And then you can learn all about Elise, Beth, and Chandra in our dashboard where our speaker bios are loading, websites and all that other good stuff. So I will see you all in the next session, which is tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern. Take care and thanks for tuning in.